have you defined what success is? And do you feel like you are fulfilling that definition? Are you happy with where you are? And do you feel that it's your own expectations that you're fulfilling? Or perhaps have you followed a path that was expected of you? Which leads me to explain a little bit of my journey, why I'm here, or how I ended up here. Super nervous for some reason, even though I've been dancing on the stages with Gwen Stefani and Whitney Houston and 50 Cent. But when it comes to talking, I get a bit nervous. Anyways, so I'm from Norway. And I started out as a dancer with not much training. I decided to become a dancer at 20 years old. Left university where I was supposed to study psychology, and followed my dream of becoming a performing artist. Growing up in a small town of 2,500 people gave you the impression of, well, that's not possible, you can't do that. And also not being fully Norwegian, that was quite difficult to grow up not fitting in with everyone around you. So it kind of became my armor to go the complete opposite way of what was expected of me. And I had success. I had 10 years of lots of fun. As I said, dancing for massive stars, traveling around the world, doing Bollywood movies in India. But it never really settled myself and my self-confidence and self-trust, and I wasn't in alignment still. So I got distracted. Had a long journey of not knowing what else I'm going to do then if I'm not going to be a performer. What do I do with my life now? Fast forward, met the father of my son. We traveled around, and it was difficult to take another step because I was so sure of myself, knowing that I wanted to become a dancer. So not having that strong direction and path to take next made me feel like I couldn't make the next step. Which brings me to yoga, which has been part of my life since 2005 or 6 or something. And that is literally the complete opposite of being in the dancing scene. No competition, self-acceptance, not reaching for a goal, but just being present and understanding how to ground yourself in peace and contentment and gratitude. So I decided, all right, I've got to take this step, otherwise I'll just continue to be lost in entertainment and fun and parties. So I did that, came to Malta, and we decided to join forces of setting up one of the first boutique fitness centers in Malta, which was Free My Me. Was super fun, very successful, super busy. Had a child on top of that. And then we came to a part of separating. So 2 huge blows by now, because finding out that I didn't want to become a dancer anymore, not knowing what direction to take, was one big transition. The second was, okay, I've settled doing this, I have a child, and the last thing that I thought that I would end up as was a single mother out of business. And so I spent a lot of time figuring out how to move forward from there. I hired a coach, and for those 8 months, I had to give myself a massive promise, and that was, I cannot be distracted doing this. This investment is too big for me to be distracted with bad habits, or not being really focused on what's happening. Plus, I had a child to take care of, so that really fuels your direction and your willingness to commit. So this process has helped me to form the method that I help other people navigate big changes with. And I call it Connect, Purify and Transform. So the first part is, what is the opposite of being connected? Disconnected. Being at dis-ease, anxious, stressed, not having a direction, being without clarity, which is not a nice place to be. Why do we end up being there in the first place? No one wants to answer, okay. I think it's because you don't know what you want to do with your life. I think it's because you don't know what you might be good at and what you can contribute to the world. And so you end up deciding not to look at things and stay distracted. So this willingness to reconnect with myself through meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, just finding time to be quiet and really being able to look inwards and be honest with myself, led me to the next part, which is to purify, which is the hardest part, really, because no one really wants to get rid of the comfort zones of how we live and what we do with our lives, even though it might not be healthy. So it takes another level of commitment. It really takes another level of deciding, okay, who do I want to be? What example do I want to set? What are my values now? What are my standards? And how do I stay within that? And for me, what really worked was to be really strict, from one extreme to the other, basically. When I had the coach, I promised myself, all right, during this time, I cannot be distracted. I've got to not tolerate anything that could possibly derail my attention and focus and concentration. And for me, that was stopping to drink. So 8 months, okay, not going to do that. I'm just going to be focused on all this extremeness of waking up early, meditating, doing breath work, doing yoga, doing journaling, being grateful. And after 8 months, I was like, wow, I actually feel so much better. Might as well go for another few months to reach a year. And 1 year led to 2, 3, 4, and now 5, which is, I don't know, it's just amazing. It's just become a new place to be. And I don't think that it's something that I miss, or I don't feel deprived. But you have to do something for long enough to figure out where your middle is, or if it's something that is right for you. And that purification part also really helped me to become very clear about everything that was going on in my head, in my heart, and what I really thought about myself. Because there was no distractions, and I was willing, and I was committed. So next part then is the transformation. What's the opposite of transformation? Staying the same, yeah, procrastinating, feeling hopeless. Anything else? Stagnant. Not taking ownership. Playing safe, exactly. Why do we play safe? Exactly. Fear. Where does fear come from? insecurities, yes. It's the fear of losing some sort of control. So that could be, if I take this risk, I might lose my status, or I might not be accepted, or I might not live up to the expectation of my own expectations or other people's expectations. So it's easier to stay where you are because it's safe, but then again, it makes us unhappy and unsettled and discontent if we don't push our boundaries a little bit and listen to the voice of potential, I think. And which is why it's so easy to just stay distracted and numb and pretend that, okay, I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm positive, I'm cool. Let's not listen to that voice telling me that, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. I know you could do more of that. I know you could be better at that. So this process is just something that really works for me. For other people, it might be very, very extreme. But you have to know yourself. You need to know what you're made of, what triggers you, what you want, what makes you fearful, and then make a decision. All right, this is what it is. How can I embrace all of it? How can I accept all of it? Which leads us to the transformation. There's no timeline of the transformation. It's something that happens very gradually, just like going to the gym. You can't see yourself gaining weight or losing weight. It's something that you see if you take pictures and if you followed something quite continuously for 6 to 12 months. That's when you see it. Same thing with the inner transformation. You start to notice, all right, I'm dealing with things differently. I'm being better at being patient with myself. I'm being more kind, compassionate. And I've stopped thinking about whether I'll be good enough for something or not, and more about how can I be of service? How can I best contribute out of the things that I'm offering? Which is a nice place to be honest, because it's really exhausting to constantly think about whether you're good enough for something or not. However, I'm not sure if it's possible to avoid it. Not for me anyway. So my definition of success is therefore having come to the point of accepting myself so well that even though I'm very ambitious, I have a lot of things I still want to achieve and reach for, if it's going to come true or not, I'm still going to be all right. I'm still going to be accepting and encouraging and understanding towards myself, just like I would with my closest. And so if you can approach anything difficult with that kind of attitude, you can't fail, because you won't give up. That's it.